Thank you for joining me today. I think it's going to help a lot of people to understand the idea of resilience, and you can share your journey, which is very inspiring. So I wanted to share that. Introduce yourself a little bit
Yeah,
and just what do you do?
yeah, sure. I'll give a bit of background so obviously people get an idea.
Yeah.
So my name's Dene Josham. I'm one of the founders of Streetwise Defence. My background from when I was young, did a lot of martial arts, combative sports. Then I went down the military career path, which was quite short due to an injury, which had to make me rethink everything that I was about. And from that unfortunate accident, after getting put back together and everything, I went down into the private security industry, did all the hostile stuff, been to Iraq, Libya, Tunisia, a couple of days after the revolution back in, I think, 2011. So I've done all the executive bodyguarding, security work, and I've been very fortunate as well to do like all the fancy Hollywood LA red carpet stuff, looking after Angelina and Brad and the kids since the twins were born on and off for the last sort of 16, 17 years. Russell Crowe and his family. And so that's been that part. And the last couple of years, because of how things have changed, I've stepped away from the security work, the bodyguarding, and now I'm focusing on the violence prevention.
Got like you inspired to start coaching other people in
Yeah.
self-defense.
Yeah. So what got me here was I've been teaching self-defense on and off for the last sort of 10, 15 years. People asking me to do, can you teach me some stuff? My background in martial arts and boxing and that kind of thing. So I was doing it kind of in the background, excuse me. And we had a website out there. And because the last couple of years, all the restrictions we had, I had to step away from the bodyguarding work because that kind of closed down. That wasn't really an option. So it gave me the time to sort of think, right, I need to do something different, readjust. And it was a good thing because it made me realize there wasn't enough people doing the violence prevention, self defense. And with the help of my partner, we looked at it, or she looked at a different angle from the perspective of a woman. And we readjusted, rechanged some of the things. The last bodyguarding security work I did was in Libya, and that was training the Interior Minister's Close Protection Team. And from that, I met other guys, did some other kind of stuff, learned some other bits and pieces, and it made me stand back and look at what we were delivering and readjust it all to actually what people need rather than from what we think they need and the reality of violence prevention and staying safe. So that was the opportunity that fortunately I was given. At the time it was kind of one of them concerning things, thinking, what am I going to do? But hindsight now is that was probably one of the best things that happened to give me the time to look at this.
Certain types of self-defense doesn't quite teach the reality of the world, and you can be very well trained, but sometimes you may not have enough time to, I don't know, get in the right position, get in the right,
Yeah.
like, you know, body, whatever. It's just you can't always prepare for a situation like that. So what I really value about what you do is like keeping it the simplest way, straight to the point. And yeah, I certainly really think that's going to help a lot of people, what you do.
I think we have to be realistic in the topic, and I was guilty of this before, some of the things I was teaching before, and then I had that chance to stand back and started considering other aspects. And the industry is changing because it's needed to for a long time. And it's the reality that is hard to deliver. Like, you and the other ladies in the workshop, you know, I know we went on like an extra couple of hours, but that was a great finish to the day. And I learned a lot from that. I went away from that, give me other things to think about. And I'm like, I don't want to be doing this. But the fact is, until we get to where it's safe, we have to be realistic in what we tell people, the knowledge, the reality. And if I don't tell people the reality, I'm doing them an injustice. You know,
Yeah.
I know some people don't want to talk about the reality because it's uncomfortable, and we try and safeguard people, but we're not by not being real with them. So I think it's where our industry has to get realistic in what we're saying, what we're delivering, and also our understanding.
Sometimes you can't say it
Mm.
always in the nicest of ways, and you just need to get it very real, because especially I feel like with self-defense, that deals with very serious situations. Those are situations that genuinely happen, and those are not nice. So if you can't speak
Yeah.
about it, how is that, you know,
Yeah.
I don't really understand how that would work otherwise.
Doesn't help people, does it? It's one of them things where it's all about the people in front of us, and it's uncomfortable, it's challenging, but by understanding that and being challenged, you're better prepared to avoid or deal with a situation. Like, it's not just the physical, it's the emotional. So it's this understanding that, we protect ourselves physically, but what about the emotional brain situations we're in daily that could potentially, be harmful? Talking about toxic relationships and things like that, it's massive. How many people are damaged from toxic relationships?
Some statistics, when we were talking about it, you were talking about
Mm,
statistics that actually your romantic partner can be one of like the highest dangers if you're
yeah,
not careful.
yeah, and that's sad, unfortunate, but that's reality. We have to, you know, speak more about, make people more aware. The book In Control by Jane Mockton Smith, I think it was. That book is just amazing to understand controlling abusive relationships and the steps that highlight that you might be in that controlling abusive relationship, and you need to get out of there, because that's, like you just said, you're more danger from a partner or an ex-partner. So, and that's not what you want to hear, because you
Yeah.
think, well, that's horrible, that's nasty.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it is.
And everyone faces challenges in the day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
So it's just about learning to kind of bouncing back, but not, I don't like the word bouncing back because it sounds like a very simple thing to do. It's kind of like
Yeah.
taking this journey to like keep on moving forward regardless of
Mm.
like the challenges you face. So yes, I definitely think that what you do as well as your journey are all very, very beneficial to this conversation as well.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you. I hope so. Hope people, and
it
it's,
is.
we have to talk about, like I shared things with you that's happened to me. We're survivors, things that I wish I could change, but I can't. You look at, like guys like me, and you're like, we've had things happen to us, and speaking more and more about that, I think hopefully it'll get other people to realize, they're not alone. There is support systems out there. Other people do struggle, and like you say, maybe not bouncing back, but if you do bounce back, great. Whatever you want to
Right.
frame it, call it,
Awesome.
it's that resilience to keep going. That what events don't define you; it's how you process them, how you deal with them, that does.
Yeah.
And I think human nature, that survival we have within us, is massive.
And I just wanted to ask about like some of your achievements and your top achievements. I know you mentioned some of them already.
Career-wise, I think where we are now, I've done the Hollywood LA stuff, I've done the hostile stuff. Everything I've done has been rewarding in all sorts of aspects, good and bad. I've learned lots from that now I can use and share that with other people. I think the highlight is what I'm doing now. It's like I found what I should have been doing all along, but I've had to go through this journey to get to this point to now go, okay, my sole focus is sharing this knowledge, helping other people, empowering them to stay safer. And that's come about from all the other things I've done previously. You've done all the, yeah, red carpets, the Hollywood, the private jets, the fancy hotels, and it's been great. And I've been, very fortunate to see that, to experience that, and to take a lot from that. Went into Tunisia 2 days after revolution there with British Gas CEO Ian Perks, looking after him with a medic to start the power plant up to give energy to Tunisia to keep it going. So there's all these other things that kind of like highlights.
Yeah, yeah, highlights pretty much of the career, but I love how
Yes.
you say that this is the highlight, because so many people would be like, wow, the red carpet,
Mm,
working with this person was just the highlight of my career, and that was amazing. And actually you saying I love doing this, like that was a journey to get me to this point. I
definitely.
really love that. It's so refreshing as well. Was there any struggles that came with all those, for example, big moments? Because everyone
Yeah.
thinks like all those big moments are just like my highlights, great. But people forget that there were loads of challenges.
Yeah.
that went along the way.
There's lots of the other side, isn't it? You know, you've got the light and you've got the dark. You know, we all have darkness, you know, tough times that, you know, sometimes it's a struggle to get out of bed. Sometimes, you know, things knock us down. Um, Struggles, I suppose, from the injury I sustained, that was a struggle in certain environments because physical limitations. So I always had to work around that. I was always very aware of it. Challenges working with people, you know, they are challenging. We are,
Yeah.
you know, different environments, different people's expectations. I think a lot of it is managing people, understanding people as well. Like all the countries I've been to, all the different stuff I've done is trying to look at it from the other person's point of view, understanding their background, so you can work with them and make it work. But I always think with challenges, you know, you've got to focus on the way to get around them or to work through them rather than letting something stop you.
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
and I think also reflecting back, you know, and I try and do this to realize what I've done, where I've been, what I've achieved, and how it's led to here, because everyone's always focused on, I want to, the next step, the next step. And I think it's important to realize actually how far you've already come. You know, I know
Yeah.
like you on your journey, you know, I know you spoke about what you're trying to do and help people and, you know, and that's great. And you know, you've got plenty of time, which is great. And I think it's great you're starting it now
Yeah.
at your age because you've got so many years ahead of you and you're always going to be learning, adjusting, and getting better and better. Like for me, I don't think that's it now. I don't stop learning. Just done a diploma with trauma informed schools, and that's just like open another door to some more
100%.
understanding, more learnings,
Like what else
more
that I can do?
expansion. Yeah, and I don't want to ever stop. I'm always wanting to be better, learn more to now be able to share that. And I think realizing I was bodyguarding, looking after a family or one or two people, and now it's like this knowledge I need to share it with the masses because of the impact, the positive impact it can have, and we need that.
People are afraid of failure as well,
Mm,
so they don't often try. And
yes,
the way I go about it, it's sort of like fail, but fail better each time
yeah.
almost. So it's like it's okay to fail so long as you know you're heading in a direction or you're opening new doors.
It's also the criticism, isn't it? You know, nobody wants to fail, but failure is part of being successful
Yeah,
or you know getting where you want to be. And that's the thing I think more people should talk about is their failures
yeah.
because you know it's not you know you see this you think oh you know the website and what I've done you think wow, but behind that there's a lot of failures, there's a lot of you know things that stop start change, you change direction, you get
A lot
better,
of days where you
and
do
that's
want to
just
get out of bed.
yeah, and that's the
Yeah,
progression of just you know go you know that resilience, just keep going,
yeah,
the belief in yourself, and also trying to turn the noise down from other people as well. Sometimes people
yeah.
just don't like what you're doing or your success or the direction you're going. And it's like, that's okay. But you have to focus on what you want to do, what's right for you, and just keep going.
When you're going for a growth journey, it's sort of this period where like you discover that what you where you are now does not fit with who you want to be. And the
Yeah.
people you are surrounded with may not particularly fit with your future you. So
Yeah,
you have to sort of
definitely.
like sometimes distance yourself a little bit and move forward in the direction that you want to move into. But then
Yeah.
people forget that it's not just jump from one to another. You finally like find this whole crowd of supportive people and everything is perfect. No, it's sort of like this lonely period where you just do the background work, where you work on yourself, you work on the projects you want to do, you do the work, you show up every day, regardless of how hard it is. And potentially you don't, that's the period where you don't even have the people to support you fully.
Yeah. It's that vision you have that might, that nobody else might have,
Yeah.
that you still have to, you've got to have that burning belief. And also, I think for me, I always look around at people and look at them and go, okay, what's the difference between that person and me? Because we're all capable. The only limitations are the ones that we can put on ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I think we always need to understand is what's my limiting belief?
It's realizing that nothing's impossible, especially if it's already been done. It clearly is shown to be possible. It's
Mm,
just how you approach it. Will you constantly be willing to show up? Are you
yeah.
just, it takes a journey. And
Yeah.
that's why I think resilience is like the key word there, because without resilience, how can you possibly do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.